Hi, this video is to give you a bit more information about Assessment Task 1 for EDF4004. Now this first task is worth 50% of your total mark in this unit, and it's basically really asking you to create and then describe and evaluate an assessment technique. So I've kind of put it in three different parts. The first part is to create an assessment based on one of the following techniques. So you choose one or the other. So the first one is a 20-question quiz, and that can be a mixture of multiple choice and short answer. You could also use other test techniques like a cloze test, but that assesses students' understanding at the end of a unit. Now this gives you a clue of maybe the purpose, one of the purposes of this particular assessment task. So you can either create that quiz or you can create an authentic assessment task, and you'll learn more in this unit about what an authentic assessment task is. And the purpose of this task is to assess students' progress in the middle of a unit. The second part that you need to also create is a marking rubric or scoring guide that explains what is being assessed or correct answers and how much each section or question task is worth. So you will either have one or the other, rubric or scoring guide. Now the scoring guidelines will obviously specify what the correct answers are, but we'll also need to explain how many points each section is worth or each question is worth, and if there's any special weighting, if one section is weighted more than the other. And in addition with the rubric, and you can kind of look at our rubric for this particular assignment, that the different criteria in the rubric is weighted. Now this information also needs to be given to the students, so do consider that when you create your assessment tasks. So if it is a quiz, you might want to put how much each section is worth to signal to the students exactly how they are going to be evaluated, because that's a very important part of assessment, is making sure that students understand how they are going to be assessed. So after the first two things, after you've created these, the assessment task and the marking or scoring guide, you need to finally write a discussion paper, and that's about 1,000 words approximately. And you will need to do three things. Describe the purpose of your assessment task, and how does it inform teaching and learning? Where does this fit in? If we're looking at teaching, learning, and assessment as being interconnected, then where does this sit, and how, what's the purpose of this assessment task? What do students get out of it? What do teachers get out of it? Then describe the context. So who are the students? What particular year level are they in, or what unit are they learning about? Where does this sit within other particular units or lessons, and so on? And most importantly, you need to make sure that you connect it to the Victorian curriculum, a content description or content descriptors, and an achievement standard. So make sure whatever subject that you are preparing this assessment for, you need to make sure that it connects to the Victorian curriculum. So you need to actually mention the context, where it aligns with the content descriptors and or the achievement standards. Finally, you need to evaluate the assessment tasks test principles, and we'll learn more about this in class, but basically we're looking at validity, reliability, practicality, and authenticity. So you need to evaluate the assessment tasks that you created based on these particular principles. Your discussion paper will also be looking at kind of language and literacy, so just generally looking at those sorts of things. So do look at the rubric, make sure that you understand those particular sections. Now this particular paper doesn't require a whole lot of external sources to be cited, but you will be citing the Victorian curriculum, and I'd be expecting that you'd be doing maybe 2 or 3 other, whether it's your textbook or something else that talks about the particular purpose of assessment task and so on. If you have any questions, please ask your tutor, and good luck.